Hello everybody, my name is Brady with OWC, and I'm here to show you Apple's brand new 2022 MacBook Air. Not only does this have the new M2 Apple Silicon chip inside, it also sports a fresh redesign of the chassis that brings it in line with the design language of the 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros. The redesign sports a more square body look than the tapered design of Airs past, which allows for the slightly bigger screen, as well as the return of MagSafe charging in the form of MagSafe 3. And that all helps power that beefy 5nm M2 chip. In this video, we'll be showing you everything about our 2022 MacBook Air, from what's inside the box, to how it looks, to how it performs, as well as a peek inside to see what's driving that performance. We'll also show you some great OWC products that'll help you supercharge your MacBook Air. The MacBook Air we will be showing you today comes in the midnight color and has the M2 chip with the 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, and 8GB of unified memory. You can upgrade that M2 to a max of 8 cores for the CPU, 10 cores for the GPU, and 24 gigs of unified memory. When it comes to storage, we opted for the baseline 256 gig SSD, which you can upgrade to a whopping 2 terabytes of super fast SSD storage if you so choose. Now, let's go ahead and open this box and see what's on the inside. Here we have everything from inside the box laid out for you to see. We'll get to the system a little bit later, but now let's focus on the accessories. First off, we have a Type-C to MagSafe 3 braided power cable. This actually comes in the midnight color, which is very nice looking. Next to it, we have the 30-watt USB-C power adapter. You also have the choice to get an upgraded 2-port power adapter if you so choose, if you want to charge your iPad or iPhone while you're also using your MacBook Air. From there, we have the documentation, such as the awesome Apple stickers. Always beautiful, this one in the midnight color. And now we have the system here, which we'll go ahead and remove this parchment on. Here we have the MacBook Air set out for you to see. First things I noticed when I set it up was the keyboard and the trackpad felt very solid, very nice. Apple definitely did a great job with those. You may also notice there's no speaker grills anywhere on that. It's because Apple integrated the speakers above the keyboard right next to the hinges right here. Moving on to the I/O, on the side here we have a MagSafe 3 connector plus 2 Thunderbolt/USB 4 ports. On the opposite side, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack. And then at the very top of the screen, you also see we have a notch which houses a 1080p FaceTime camera up from a 720p camera like last generation. Now that we've taken a quick look on the outside, let's go ahead and open this up and see what's on the inside. Here we have the bottom cover of the MacBook Air removed. Everything looks clean, compact, and hidden. There's a few things we could see from this angle that we'll point out. Along the bottom here, you'll see the battery. In the middle of the battery, you'll see the trackpad, the underside of it. Right here and right here, we have those 2 speakers that have been integrated near the hinge. On the side here, we have the 2 Thunderbolt ports and the MagSafe 3 port. Right here's the 3.5mm headphone jack port. Right in the middle here is the actual logic board with the M2 chip. We will be taking that out to get a closer look at that. Here we have the logic board removed from the chassis with the heat spreader separated from the logic board. One thing to note when removing this heat spreader is it has an interesting clip system on it that took me longer to remove than it did to take the logic board out of the chassis. Definitely not recommended to do this at home. All right, this is what you've all been waiting for. The logic board in the M2 MacBook Air. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the components on it. Over here on this side, this is where the 2 Thunderbolt ports connect. Right next to that, we have the retimers for those Thunderbolt ports. We also have 3 USB controllers and power delivery chips. Right here and right here are where the speakers connect, and right next to those we have a couple audio amplifier chips. This chip right here is for the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. These 2 Apple branded chips are for power management. This is the storage module for the SSD. We have the 256 gigabyte version. If you chose the higher capacity storage model of the MacBook Air, more storage would be right there. And here we have the M2 chip. It actually looks quite similar to the M1 chip, but there are a number of internal differences. Above the chip itself, we have the 2 memory modules. Since we have the 8GB version, these modules are 4GB each. These could go up to 12GB each if you were to get the 24GB model. And here we have the logic board next to the chassis of the MacBook Air to give you an idea of the relative size of the logic board compared to the chassis. The logic board itself is about similar to the size of an iPhone Pro Max, so it's quite small. The fact that it has no active cooling on it is a testament to Apple's engineering. Now let's go ahead and put this back together and run some benchmarking. Now that we reassembled this MacBook Air, we ran it through some tests to see how it performs. The tests we ran are Geekbench, GFX Bench, and Blackmagic's disk speed test. With Geekbench, we ran the CPU benchmark so we could get an idea of the M2's single and multi-core performance. This test measures how well the M2 chip is at performing everyday tasks by simulating real-world applications. This MacBook Air here scored a single-core score of about 1940 and a multi-core score of around 8900. After Geekbench, we used GFX Bench. This tests the GPU capabilities of the M2 chip to give an idea of how well it is able to render and process graphical features. The test we used is 1080p Manhattan. This MacBook Air was able to get 489 frames per second. And finally, Blackmagic's disk speed test. This tests the read and write capabilities of the internal SSD in the Air. Essentially, it gives an idea of how fast we're able to move data on and off of the machine. With that, we got a write score of about 1600 megabytes per second and a read score of 1480 megabytes per second. Keep in mind this is the smaller SSD, 256 gigs in size. The larger SSDs get much greater performance than that. In all, while these numbers aren't exactly powerhouse numbers you get from, say, a Mac Studio, it's more than capable for most daily use needs, such as emails, browsing, or maybe even streaming your favorite movie. Now that we looked at the benchmarking of the system, let's take a look at some OWC products that could enhance the capabilities of this MacBook Air. Because this new Air is so thin, it's great for portability, but that thinness comes at a cost of reduced I/O. The OWC Travel Dock addresses just that while remaining portable. It has 2 USB-A ports, Gigabit Ethernet, an SD card slot, and HDMI. It also has a nice captive cable that tucks in the bottom for greater portability. With every computer, storage is always a concern. The Envoy Pro SX has you covered with super fast, super portable Thunderbolt storage. Great for time machine backups or storing your media collection, its small size fits in any laptop bag for storage on the go. Sometimes you just need pocketable storage for quickly transferring files. The brand new Envoy Pro Mini is just that. Thin, ultra portable, and fast, has built-in USB-A and USB-C connections to quickly move files between multiple devices. It's not like a traditional flash drive either, as it utilizes the same SSD technology you've come to expect from OWC. That's it for a quick look at some OWC products that could enhance your new MacBook Air. I must say, I am very impressed by this new MacBook Air. While the performance isn't like that of a Mac Studio, the premium build and feel of it is really something else. This midnight color is clearly my new favorite color from Apple, and if they sold an iPhone in that color, I would buy it in a heartbeat. How thin it is also makes it extremely portable for the ability to move from the desk to the couch, back to the desk again, which is what I always do for lazy web browsing. But the thing I was most excited for when I experienced it for the first time was the sound. The way the speakers are placed, it makes the sound seem like it's coming at you directly out of the screen itself. This MacBook Air is a computer I'm seriously considering purchasing for myself because it's that good. In midnight color, of course. For Apple news, tips, and tricks, be sure to visit our Rocket Yard blog. And if you'd like some more information about the accessories we showed here, or any of our other wide range of products, check out MacSales.com. For OWC, I'm Brady. Have a good day, everyone.